All right, so we have Effective Python by Brett Slatkin, who at the time of writing it was a senior staff at Google. Python is one of the three languages, original three. Uh, I think some of the very early code for the search engine was perhaps in Python. Then obviously for performance reasons they must have done everything in C++, and then I think in the early 2000s they had the billing like AdWords, and AdWords enabled the advertisers to run campaigns etc. on the search engine, and they built the billing system which was historically called Moneta, and that system was all done in Java, which was perhaps the right thing to do. So these started out as the main language, and then over time they grew tired of the compilation times of C++, and some folks like Rob Pike etc. they pioneered the whole Golang movement. Alrighty, so the book has a ton of best practices to write really good code, maintainable code, which you may think of eventually going to production. That's not what I want to do. If you want to do that, buy the book, read the book. I went through this. I marked out certain areas for a coding interview, like certain things which I may want to call out, and like this should be a supplement to what I've already covered in a couple of other videos in my warm-up coding playlist. So let's just go through this book. It's not going to take us a lot of time. Skipping indentation. There's something about knowing the difference between bytes, strings and Unicode. Practically useful, pretty useful, not for coding interviews, but yeah, be aware of that. This is item number 3. Okay, so definitely I learned something on this, so would recommend people to check this out. Slice sequences, yeah, like this. If A is a list and you can say B equal to A square bracket colon square bracket close, this just creates a copy. And then there are interesting things which you can do by saying, hey, in a certain range A2 colon 4 equal to, let's say, you could actually put in 3 values or 5 values, right? So this kind of dynamically resizes the array, the underlying array, right? Which is quite neat. This, I think it is it can lead to tricky things to understand also, so use it at your own peril. But yeah, in some cases you may just figure out, yeah, actually this is a neat thing which I can do. Okay, moving on. Now one thing which throughout this book I found the use of, like a theme which would be a step up for me, would be the use of generators. So I will basically, when mixing, I will perhaps do a little interstitial where I talk about demonstrate generators. There are some cool things in terms of chaining generators and using them in, there are a few tips. Yeah, chaining, zip, etc., which is pretty neat. So definitely see if you can incorporate it into your regular programming interview kind of coding. It could be nice. All right, so then I think in chapter 1 there are things like try, catch, try, accept, else, finally. This hardly ever gets used in a coding interview, but yeah, know about that. Okay, I think know definitely definitely know your errors. Yeah. All right. Moving on, chapter 2 talks about the item 15 is know how closures interact with variable scope. I have talked about closures in a couple of videos, inner function, referencing, let's say, the out variable, etc. This is all closures. I will maybe I will see if I can mix in some content to show all the things, like compare first class functions in Python to first class functions in JavaScript. And there is another podcast which I am doing with Ashutosh Tripathi, where we just recorded the first video of that last weekend. So I think yeah, we'll do that also sometime soon. Chapter 2 has a lot of things about maintainability, I feel. Variable positional arguments, optional behavior with keyword arguments, etc. Use none and doc strings. This is all like for making your functions and your code more readable, maintainable. So not very useful for coding interviews. I think you're focusing on algorithm, data structures. You may just do some functions for reusability or clarity of expression, right? But beyond that, I think yeah, you won't be spending too much time on it. Classes and inheritance. So recently I had a coding interview. I coded up a class and I realized that yeah, certain things actually I am not that great at. Because you occasionally write classes, mostly you're just writing functions, and you get a lot done with just functions in Python. There's the name tuple. I've used the name tuple in the past, so you can check it out. This is item number 22. Use class method polymorphism to construct objects generically. Now this is where I think yeah, you may have to if you are doing like LLD type stuff, some of this may come handy, not for DSA coding. So this whole chapter 3 actually I think pretty low on the radar with regard to DSA coding. But you're not going to do like multi-inheritance and mixins and this and that. Collections.abc, yeah, just like name tuple, there's collection.abc also in there. Okay, so check that out. Chapter 5 is on concurrency and parallelism. Starts by describing how to run a child process with a sub process, use threads, so from threading import thread, create a class which is inheriting from thread, and then you have a def run, and then you will say thread equal to whatever, you create an object and then you can do a thread dot start, thread dot join, etc. Why are you even worrying about threads? So Python threads release the GIL, the global interpreter lock, just before they make system calls, and they reacquire the GIL as soon as the system calls are done. So if you want to like have concurrency of things which are running in the uh, kernel mode, maybe they are doing some IO, right, and stuff which runs in user space, threads are useful. Okay, but then yeah, use locks to prevent data races, use queue to coordinate work between threads. I have not really done a lot of this because I have historically done like a lot of concurrent programming in Java, and I'm pretty like I know those libraries well. Also, they exhibit like true parallelism. They can make use of the course, right? For Python, you have to use coroutines. To run many functions concurrently. Coroutines work by enabling the code consuming a generator to send a value back into the generator function after each yield expression. So this is where I was earlier saying, hey, to step up my game, I need to start using generators. The time for that will also come. Consider concurrent.futures for true parallelism. Yeah, so maybe I'll see if I'll start writing a few programs using futures, and that's like the end of the chapter. Then there is built-in modules, talks about various things. The time module, the date time module, I already knew about that. There's the order dictionary, which is pretty neat, right? You normally have a dictionary which is not giving you iteration in a very sorted order, but you can create the equal to order dict, and then when you fill it in, right, a foo equal to 1 or d foo equal to 1, d bar equal to 2, and then yeah, you can. So there's actually, they have taken two dictionaries, order dictionaries, and then they're getting the dot values and they're doing some zip of it, etc., etc. But basically, yeah, the iteration, will be in the order of insertion. This is great. So this example of order dictionary, basically there are various kind of items, food items. It represents some kind of an Indian restaurant, and we are using an order dictionary here to store various kind of food items for a given type. So starters, mains, breads, desserts, and then we are adding beverages also. And then we illustrate the power of an ordered dictionary by this method move to end, and you can say last equal to false to move to beginning. So breads can move to beginning, mains can go to end, etc., and then reorder. So let's run this. So we will first see that after adding, so initially restaurant menu is starter, mains, breads, desserts, then beverages were added. After reordering, breads came first, mains went last, and if you compare it to a regular dictionary, it doesn't have the move to end method. So order dictionary is very powerful in some cases. Talk about heap queue, that's out of the box, a min heap implementation. It's in the heap queue module. You have the heap pop, heap push, etc. There's the bisect, which is, so you can do a bisect left, bisect right, etc. It gives you out of the box binary search. Definitely, I think these are some power drills which you can use in your coding interviews. And then this whole page number 170, I think this is this talks about the iter tools functions, linking, examples, chain, cycle, t, filtering, slice, take while, and then product, permutations and combinations. All of these are very, very handy. Let's have a quick look at the iter tools. There's chain, cycle, t. So let's run. And look at the output of chain. So it has just chained multiple iterables into one single one. Cycle is taking this list A, B, C, this iterable, and it is just cycling through them, A, B, C, A, B, C, A. So we are doing it in the range 7, so it will do it and produce so next basically is to be used on generator. So iter tools will give us a generator, and here list will actually execute and evaluate the entire generator. T, so data is a list of 4 members. Then if we do a T on data, and it is basically splitting it into 2 iterables, 1 and 2. So here T can print 2 lists. Slice, so again 0 to 9, and we do slice, we give the start and the stop and the step. So what is the start? So 0, 1, 2, it will start with 2, and then it will go and take 2, 4, 6, and it's stopping at 8. Take while takes elements while the condition is true. So 1, 3, 5, 8, 9, 11, that's our data. And then we are going to take from data while x is less than 8. So it will print 1, 3, 5, which we got here. Then we have product. So it's taking these 2 iterables and doing a Cartesian product. So 1a, 1b, and 2a, 2b. That's what we are getting here. Permutations of a list taken 2 elements at a time. So these are permutations. Combinations of 4 elements taken 2 at a time. And then there is combinations with replacement. So there are two elements, and with replacement means whenever you are taking one, you are replacing it with another one. So you can actually have 1 1 also in there and 2 2 also in there. Okay, and then chapter 7 is on collaboration. Obviously, in a coding interview, you are going for speed. So and chapter 8, be aware of the unit test package, right? So there's a simple example here. From unit test, import test case, comma main, class, utils test case, extends test case, bunch of methods which start with the word test indicating each test, and yeah, and then run the main. So if you're not writing any unit tests, just write like 1 or 2 sample tests. So if needed, you can talk about it. So that's the end of the book. So hopefully, I'll mix this in with some more content, and then hopefully this will be a good catalog of more extended capabilities beyond what I've already talked about. So yeah, please practice a little bit, because some of these things, it's not just about knowing them, but practicing them before they become second nature, and then you basically start having this pythonic thinking, which basically you're not thinking about like low level stuff, but slightly higher level, and this can work to your benefit in coding interviews. All right, see you in the next one. Cheers.